And we're on air. Good morning. I'm here with Fernanda on a Sunday morning, and she's got a really good story to tell about the way she uses technology for inclusiveness. Fernanda is a sign language teacher. In fact, I'll pass over to Fernanda to tell the story rather than me try to do it through Chinese whispers or something. So, Fernanda.
Hi. Good morning. Yeah, we've got a really interesting story about one of our students. He started the course and he really enjoyed it, but halfway through he got a fantastic opportunity in Belgium. So he goes to Belgium during the week and he comes back on the weekends, but the class is on a Wednesday evening. So he asked me, could he continue? Was there any way that he could continue? Now, because he's an IT buff, he writes software and that kind of thing, I thought it'd be really useful to maybe try to incorporate the Google Hangouts that we use at the college. So we discussed it and we both decided to try this. So on the Wednesday when he was away, we gave it a go. And so now he Skypes from Belgium into the class.
Google Hangouts as well in this case, isn't it?
Sorry. Yeah, Google Hangouts.
It doesn't matter. Actually, the video technology is what counts. Whether we use whatever, it's not the technology that matters so much, the use of it.
I suppose because the word Skype is almost like I know what you mean. Yeah, it's become a verb. It's like I'm going to Skype you, but in this case, we're using Google Hangouts.
Like I'm going to do the hooving, isn't it? Or,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Microsoft would be really pleased with that one then, wouldn't they? But what was you saying about when he was in the hotel trying to seek out a signal?
Yeah, it was really interesting. The one day he came to class via Google Hangouts, but we kept losing him. So he said to me, "I'm going to go and sit on the stairs next to the room with the router." So he sat there in his coat with the screen on the stairs and attended the class that way. But that's not very comfortable for him, obviously. So now what he does is he actually asks the hotel before his stay to book him into a room that is next to the router.
That reminds me of the early days of mobile phones where you used to get, especially some comedies at times, where you used to have people, they've got I can't get a signal, and then they're on tiptoe with that, like that, So, and the modern age now, it's no problem getting a voice signal usually, but trying to get a Wi-Fi signal or strong enough to do a video call is the new position we're in, and people seeking out a decent enough signal to get that. And it got me thinking about technology and inclusivity. With the mobile phone was a fantastic thing for people to be able to communicate anytime, any place, anywhere, really, voice. But until the advent of text, obviously it wasn't a good thing for people that can't speak or people that can't hear. And text was one really good way for them to become mobile in that sort of mobile era. But I was wondering, can you do sign language with one hand, Fernanda?
No, well, I suppose you can, and some people do. Like if they're holding their mobile phone and they're signing to their friend, they try to do it, but it's not as clear. So if someone doesn't have a very high level of sign language, they wouldn't understand it. They really need both hands to be very clear. So, for example, I have another student who I support as a CSW, and she has her little Apple phone and she sticks it in front of the screen and she Snapchats her friend. She sends little messages. So she has the phone there, records a message quickly and clicks send, and off it goes to her friend.
Yeah, this is a kind of a trend I've been picking up in the last a year anyway. Certainly gathering momentum. New forms of quick communication, emoticon languages. I remember Stephen Proctor a couple of years ago actually talking about his work with some students with severe learning difficulties that found it on the kind of autistic type spectrum, found it really difficult to communicate, but they would communicate with pictograms, and as like in science fiction, you've got like aliens or people from the future have a richer communication stream because they're not using words, but they're using a picture says 1,000 words and things.
Absolutely. Images are so important, and with sign language, that's what we're trying to encourage. And it's interesting because having to use the screen, it's forcing the students to improve their communication skills, whereas they would sit back and just relax. Now when I put them in front of the screen, they have to sit up, they have to have their hands ready, and it's like that desire to engage is really good.
Yeah, this is really quite fascinating because video and what's happened in over the last few hundred years is that the text medium, written word, has come to dominate so much of education. We write essays, and now that in the 21st century, with all this technology and Skype, Google Hangouts, all video imagery is so prevalent now, and people are so used to it in their everyday lives. It will, I'm sure, affect education and learning. That instead of having to write an essay, you could now, you can video something or act it out. We don't have to rely only on text for communication anymore. I was going to ask you, Fernanda, I'm not sure if you know it, but in terms of like communication efficiency, I was talking about, we were talking about pictures worth 100 words, but in communication efficiency, how is it with sign language? Is it faster? Can you actually sign faster than you can type?
Yes, you can. If you are a proficient signer, what sometimes can happen is as long as the signer knows what the story is beforehand and maybe does some preparation, if somebody is doing a speech and the signer is well prepared, the signer can actually finish before the speaker. Because, for example, you have the sentence I always use: the little boy wants to climb the tree. In sign language, you sign tree, you point to the boy, he looks at the tree and he climbs up. So it's very, very efficient. So it's like tree, boy, climb. That's it.
Yeah, that's very efficient, isn't it? It's visual communication. Of course, written word is visual as well. So the blind had Braille, but yeah, visual communication. It's going to be difficult now to accommodate the visually impaired, but the hearing impaired are in for a new age, maybe, because everything's become visual, isn't it?
I heard about a story of a man who has glasses. He can't see, but the glasses play music for him. So every time he looks at something, it relays to a sound. So there must be something that they're doing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was looking last night at what's the word now? I was looking at virtual reality, and there is sensory substitution. That's what it is. And just what you were saying there, they were using it wasn't Google Glass, but it was very similar. They're using some glasses with sensors on them, and it will relay the scene to the person in sounds and in vibrations and stuff like that. And so they could walk around the environment and they would get a soundscape instead of
as opposed to visual.
A landscape, a sitescape or something like that. So there's great potential now for technology to include previously unincluded, if you like, the previously disadvantaged, or if you like, disabled, if you want to use those words. It's great potential there. So often it's used to give advantage to those that already got it. Who've got the money to buy it, you get a nice new expensive phone. But at last, I think with human-computer interfaces now, the previously disenfranchised, or whatever the word might be, the unincluded, can really play an important part. So these are exciting times. Your work there was really fascinating, Fernanda. One, the use of visual communications for including the hard of hearing, remote access to somebody that's going abroad, the search for a signal. You know, it's fantastic stuff. And of course, they were hearing students learning sign language, weren't they? You're
They
teaching.
are. All my students are hearing students, but we encourage them again to use YouTube and that kind of thing to develop their skills further. Like for example, we will film their presentations in class. The following day, I'll upload them, and then the students can go in the comments box write comments about their own performance. And what's also good is if they put the time, like 0:35 or something, it means I can click onto that straight away, and it takes me to the part in the video where they said that they did something. So we're also trying to improve their IT skills at the same time using all these programs.
Yeah, yeah. We've been working with YouTube Editor. As a little one of the teachers came up and was looking for a tool, and we got into conversation with some students. And I thought, yes, YouTube Editor is cool. You know, it's so easy to use. Once you get your video up there, you can drop in little bits and animations and stuff like that. And it will annotate for you as well. But you could add in a sign window or something. Really interesting. Okay, and thanks for that.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, how'd you say goodbye in sign language? Oh,
Some things are iconic, so bye.
that's cool.